I'm Chris Kenner, and welcome to the one-on-one for GPS. I call it GPS. It's a card location, so basically you don't know where the card is and you need to locate it, just like you would if you had a car and you used your GPS navigation system. So, here we go. Here's what GPS looks like. So here we are. We're going to jump into the trick. We're going to use my lovely wife, Katie, and our little baby Zoe. It's right here. Whoa! You can see her. No, no. See, gag. She hates when I do that, but that's totally another story. Okay, so she's going to be my volunteer for this. So first off, let's jump into the trick. So here we go. Got a deck of cards. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to cut the deck into two piles. Actually, shuffle both piles. You're an awesome shuffler, honey. Okay, satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. Which pile do you want to use? Doesn't matter.
This one.
Pick it up. All right, shuffle them again. Because actually, now don't let me ever see any of the faces of the cards, so you think that I have a key card or anything. So go ahead and shuffle them again. Okay. Satisfied? Okay, now deal the cards onto the table. Just go ahead and deal them into a pile. And stop whenever you like.
Okay.
Right there? Take a look at that card, but make sure I don't see it. Show the camera.
Okay.
Put it back. Okay, put those cards on top. Now take these cards and go ahead and shuffle them into those. Okay. Now I would say it would be impossible for me to know what your card is. Correct?
Correct.
Let's see if I can find it. What was the card?
Six of clubs.
The six of clubs. And that is GPS. So I'm going to give you a little history on GPS. One of my favorite effects in card magic is a card location, a simple card location. So when I mean simple, I mean that the person selects a card, they shuffle the cards, they put it in, and it seems completely impossible that you could even remotely know what that card is, and then you end up finding it whichever way. Even if you just run through the deck and find it, it's still a pretty strong and powerful trick. And this particular effect uses a very, very, very old method. You can find it in print way, way, way back. But I've tried to disguise it so it's, doesn't look like what it is. So let's go into description of GPS. So, I love the method for this trick. I've used it on many, many times, and this flies by people. I do this trick for people. I do this kind of style trick for magicians, and it pretty much, if they're really not familiar with this method, it fools them pretty good. So here's what it is. Basically, you have a pack of cards. So here's your deck of cards, and as you can see, it's in random order, and it's just a shuffled deck of cards. Now, the only thing that if you take a really close look that you'll notice is that these cards are separated. All the clubs and the diamonds are on the bottom half, and all the spades and the hearts are on the top half. So that's all you have to do is separate right here. We've got the clubs and the diamonds here, and the spades and the hearts are here. So and they're all mixed up, and it doesn't matter. They're in no order. I'm horrible. I can never memorize cards, so I love things that I don't have to memorize anything. So they're just set up like that. Now to describe the trick, I'm going to do it with a deck that's red, black, red, black. So assume that the red ones, this will just make it easier to teach, that the red ones are the clubs and the diamonds, and the hearts of the spades are the black ones. So that'll make it really easy when we describe the effect. So here's what you do. So I put a breather crimp, but that's not necessary. You don't have to do it. So I breather crimp the card that's the 26 from the top. So that would be the bottom of my, this will be hearts and spades, but we'll call them reds and blacks for demonstration purposes. So I take the deck, I cut it directly in half. If you want to peek check the check, which you should because I didn't cut them there you go. That way you've got exactly half and half. So you've got the reds and the blacks, which is again the diamonds and clubs, hearts and spades. So you ask the spectator to select, shuffle both piles. So they take either both piles, they can shuffle them any way they like. Doesn't matter how they shuffle them. Shuffle this pack. Because again, it doesn't matter how they shuffle them. There's no key cards, nothing like that involved in this trick. So both packets are shuffled. You don't know anything about the cards except those are clubs and diamonds and those are hearts and spades. Or in our case, these are red, these are black. So they pick a pile. Let's say they pick the red pile. Now they pick it up, tell them to give it a shuffle again. They give it another shuffle. Now you have them deal the cards into a pile. Now, sometimes depending on the spectator, you might want to say slowly if they're kind of an aggressive person. You say just deal them nice and slowly into a pile on the table. And as they deal, you count the cards as they're dealing. So you count 1, 2, 3, and about after the third card you say, and stop anytime you like. So they keep counting, 3, 4, in your head you're counting, obviously don't move your lips and count, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they say stop. You say, okay, now don't let me see it, but take a peek at that card. Just peek at it so that you know what it is. So they take it and they lift it up and they keep it right there. So in this case it's the 9 of hearts. Okay? So they look at it, put it back, take the cards that are remaining in your hands. If you want, you can tell them to shuffle them. It doesn't matter. Put the cards back here. And now, the one thing that you know is that their card is the 9th card from the bottom of this pack. So, and again, in our case, it's all red. But in your real case, it'll be clubs and diamonds. Or hearts and spades, whichever it happens to be. So now, when they shuffle, this is the important thing here is when you say shuffle the two packets together, I give it a little riffle like this so that they know they're just supposed to riffle shuffle the cards together. So now, this makes it super impossible. They riffle shuffle the cards together. They square them up. You say your card's lost in the deck. Show them they've just destroyed any setup that you had by shuffling the cards together, so there's nothing to see. You just show the cards, and now the trick happens. You take and you run through the deck, and what's going to happen here is as I run through the pack, I count. In this case, I'm going to just count the red cards, but normally you would count the clubs and the diamonds. So here I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's their card, the 9 of hearts. So once you have in that position, pull the card out, ask them their card, and you got a pretty good miracle. So, that is GPS. Here's a couple of things to remember. Now, I know I probably don't have to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Obviously, during this trick, I explained it with the cards being separated red and black, but you really want to do it where it's clubs and diamonds on the bottom, hearts and spades, so your two halves would end up being clubs and diamonds in one half, hearts and spades in the other, not red and black. You could obviously do the trick that way and it would still work. If they never look at the faces, it would be no problem. But to be a little more deceptive, it's best if it's clubs and diamonds, hearts and spades. Another thing in the trick, I mentioned a breather crimp. Now, I'm really not going to go over a breather crimp here. It's pretty easy. You can look it up kind of anywhere. But you don't have to use a breather crimp at all. You can just take the cards. They don't really know what's going on at this point. You're not saying, now watch, take the cards, I'll cut them into two halves. You just casually spread through the deck, break them at the spot where you've got hearts and clubs on one side, or spades and hearts, yeah. Spades and hearts on one side, clubs and diamonds on the other. Just separate there and set down the two halves and say, you shuffle both halves. So you don't have to have a breather crimp. I just kind of like it because it adds one more little thing when you cut the pack. So that is it. That's the wrap up for GPS. I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you next time.